Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, a new vision of horror from the maniacal minds that brought you Curse of Straw. Explore over 30 domains of dread to terrorize your table, or use the ghastly guide to create your own. Let loose your dark side with all new character subclasses. Unleash fresh nightmares with dozens of malevolent monsters. Pre-order for chilling bonuses and perks. Subscribe to share this twisted content with your table. Face your fears. Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Pre-order now on the D&D Beyond marketplace. Or else.
Hello world, welcome to another dev update. I'm Joe, I'm the content boy here at D&D Beyond and Phantom Tabletop. I'm joined by a much more important person. I'm off to a great start, our community manager, Mellie. Hey Mellie, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. You got to your vocal warm-ups this morning, Joe?
Yeah, The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. We've got a lot to get through today, so we're gonna walk through our timeline. We're gonna introduce you guys to our new feedback flow system and how that works. Andrew and Pat, our old friends in the senior product manager cave, are gonna come on, answer your questions about the feedback flow questions, and then we're just gonna blow it up to a big general Q&A. So get your hard balls ready for these two. If there's something that you've always wanted that we just don't have yet, these are the two to yell at about it. So get ready to yell. Hey, Mellie, let's go. Let's go through this. Let's go through this timeline. So, guys, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft is still available for pre-order. That releases properly Tuesday. So you have until Monday at midnight to pre-order on dndbeyond.com. That comes with a ton of really cool pre-order perks, including the Memento Mori dice. The D&D Beyond Consolidated app is out. It's available to download. Check it out. It's really, really cool. The first big update for it is coming. That's going to be spell management on iOS. So that is coming. There are just a few extra steps to kind of get that together and get that going. So make sure you're watching out for that. Jasper's Game Week came to a close, and they broke. We're still waiting on final numbers, but they broke 100K. So thank you guys so much for participating and for donating and for tweeting and for sharing. Let's see here. Subscriber perks have started rolling out. So subscriber perks launched this month. We've got some portrait frames that we had previously archived, some really cool animated portrait frames, and then some really cool backdrops for you guys. Those are going to start rolling out every month. The next one's rolling out next month. I have seen, and I don't think I'm allowed to talk about them yet, but they look dope. So I'm excited to be able to share those with you guys here as soon as we can. We've got some cool streams coming up. Today, we're going to be talking about how to build the perfect party to adventure into Ravenloft. And I feel like we found the perfect party to do it. We're just bringing on the entire Black Dice Society. Next week, Wednesday, we are going to start streaming The House of Lament, the adventure in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. I will be DMing that. I'm super excited, a little nervesies. Mellie will be playing with me, and also joining that table, our creative team, Amy and Michael will be joining that as well. So a little small but mighty party. This Tuesday, definitely be here because Amy will be building a customized domain of dread. Again, in the book, there are tools to build your own domains of dread. Our own friend Taliesin from Critical Role is coming on to build a custom domain of dread with Amy. I'm super stoked about this.
I'm super excited. And I mean, if anybody's going to have a cool idea for a domain of dread, it is the immortal Taliesin Jaffe. The things that he's seen over the course of eternity has got to get some good horror content. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be crazy. So make sure you guys check that out. It's going to be super fun. In progress, Draconic Lineages in progress. I will just go live whether we're scheduled or not the moment that they are good to go, so I can scream at you guys that Draconic Lineages are live. I'm clawing to get at them too. So thank you guys for your patience on those. Also in progress, a new update and feature to the game log, dice targeting, is going to be really, really cool and helpful. And we'll start talking about that a little more in depth in upcoming dev updates. But, basically sort of the top line is that this feature is going to allow users to choose when they would like to share their dice rolls with others, and also give them the option to secretly send rolls to the DM, allowing some little one-on-one like adjudication without the rest of the party knowing about it. So when you've got those secret little high drama moments, that's going to allow for that. So we'll get into that a little more in depth in the coming weeks. Again, a look at sort of these overall 2021 goals that we're working on all the time, whether there's a specific feature on the roadmap or not. The character sheet backlog, the whole character sheet backlog. There's a real goal and a push to get as much of that burned off as possible. The feature system, the generic feature system, which I refuse to call generic. Generic is too negative a word for a feature system. Again, just a way to really start bringing together a lot of these sort of different features and tools in D&D. And again, the continued integration of our shared play space. So like we've been talking about, we've got all these amazing tools. Now we're finding all of these ways to really connect them, to really integrate your game and give you guys a ton of immersion in your game. That is the goal, that is the hope. But what we're here to talk about today is our new feedback flow system, which I'm stoked about. I know that you guys have been looking for something like this and really looking for a way to make sure that your voices are being heard and actually being able to sort of see a little bit of what's being done about your voices being heard. And so to talk a little more on that, we've got Andrew and Pat back, our senior product managers. Gentlemen, so guys, give us just sort of an introduction to the feedback flow system, what it is, why it's there, and how users can interact with it, and then sort of throughout this melee as people sort of have questions. Let's pepper them with feedback.
You bet.
Yeah, so I can kick that off. I think, Joe, if you want to talk about what we're doing now versus what we did before, and then I think Andrew, I'll hand it back off to Andrew to talk about the importance of it. So essentially, feedback comes from a bunch of different places, and it's very hard to grasp all of it coming in because it comes so fast, so furious from so many different places. So like Mellie being on the community side of things and doing all that direction of our moderators, she sees this stuff all the time. And unless she specifically, or the moderator specifically tell us about it in a Slack channel or an email or vocally, it goes off into the ether, or it resides somewhere in their brain or on their database and doesn't ever get to the place where we build products out. So we have this software that we've subscribed to that allows us, through some integrations, to be able to push stuff from anywhere. And what that does for us as product managers is it gives us a ritual and a time to be able to once, twice, 3 times a week sit down, look at this massive inbox of stuff that has been pushed from all team members, not just moderators, not just Mellie, not just you, Joe, anybody that's on the team who says that's really interesting, they should know about it. Boom, it goes into this format, lands on our lap on an inbox, and then from there we can tag it and process it to the place that it needs to go to be the most efficacious. Because sometimes somebody will say something, but they're talking about 3 different things. We can tag it with the 3 different tags, and then it's there and processed. Now, there's another piece to it that's kind of even cooler. If we capture the person's information in the comment that gets pushed to our inbox, when that feedback starts to turn into a feature, into a solution, through the same system, we will push it to what's called a portal. And when it gets to that portal, round about the time we're exploring the idea, they will be notified. Whatever. So if they've supplied an email, now it's not going to be a Twitter blast or anything like that. But if they supplied an email with the feedback, they'll be notified that that's under consideration. Then they will also be notified that it's now being worked on, and they'll also be notified when it's actually released. So they'll see their idea go from an idea that was scooped up by somebody on our team, and then feedback loop all the way through to the end of, ta-da, here's the thing. So that's it in a nutshell.
So this is something that we actually have a question here from chat that I think ties into this pretty well. We've got Gita XTD, apologies if that's not how you pronounce the letters here. What is the customer end of the feedback flow going to look like? So they also talk about, you know, questions being asked quite often, but I think more the focus on, so yes, so like when something's completed, if this email's here, you know, we'll send it out, but is there something else, you know, as far as visibility for our users?
I think the customer end of the feedback flow starts here, right, with this dev update. So if something's going into consideration and it was your idea and you're in that feedback loop, you would be notified privately. But if it's if you weren't part of that piece, you won't know as it's being put into consideration. But once it gets put onto the roadmap as being worked on, of course, we tell Joe immediately, and Joe and Mellie jump on here, and they put that in their calendar of things to come. We've sunset the Trello board because, to be quite honest, the Trello board was not as truthful or as robust as it should be, and it was just doing us a disservice by being out there talking about what could happen eventually. And we don't want to talk about eventualities. We want to talk about facts, and we want it to be experienced sooner than something that may happen a year from now.
And yeah, talking facts over what could be is frustrating and hard sometimes, but it's important, as you guys remind me all the time. Before we jump into a sort of the importance of this and why we're doing it with Andrew, do we have like a preferred, you know, place to drop feedback with contact information and stuff like that?
The best way to do it, let me think here, would probably be, so if it's just an idea, somebody's going to scoop, oh, got it, here we go. So Zendesk, that's a great place to start. So if you go into our help desk and request a feature through Zendesk, it captures all of your information, and then our help desk support personnel will push that into our insights, and then we'll have your information there. That's a new one. Now, if you're following our forums, our feedback forums, where we're experimenting to decide and looking at explorations, and you want to vote there, there'll be places from there that you'll be able to hyperlink into this portal and then kind of upvote and recommend and make suggestions inside there. So yeah, those will be the two big places that will get the most result back to you.
And that portal that you just mentioned, because you talk about the upvoting, and we've seen that on Zendesk. We've had kind of this feature request section where people can upvote things. Is this portal different than that Zendesk page?
Yep, it's different. It's actually a software that's called Product Board, and it allows us to create a forward-facing version of the feature problem, and then allow for folks to add on to that. But the difference is they won't see what everybody else is adding on. They'll just see that somebody did add something on, right?
Right.
And that's great because that avoids arguments, and it allows us to look at all of the data coming in and go, okay, these are conflicting, but why? And then try to solve it ourselves.
Right on.
Just to also add on to that too, while that might be the preferred way, even in this dev update, as you ask questions, those are seen and captured as well. Or any posts that you do, or anything that you tweet at our Twitter account. So, I mean, whatever's really easiest for you to get us your ideas is the most ideal for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like support tickets, forums, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And anywhere you can find D&D Beyond, we can pass those things on directly.
It is official record that I should not be doing these dev updates now. Andrew, What is give us a little bit of why. Give us a little bit of sort of insight for what we're hoping to accomplish with this. And
yeah, so it is not like we are just now asking for feedback. We have been asking for feedback for a long time. D&D Beyond has been built and managed with feedback in mind from day one, even before day one too. The thing that has really changed with this process is we want desperately to make sure we are considering all feedback and using it to influence our roadmap. That's the ideal, right? Like, what should we build? Well, the thing that everybody wants us to build. Well, how do we know that? Well, we got to read it all. And how do we read it all? It's a very difficult process. As you can imagine, there are thousands of pieces of feedback every day. But Pat and I have been talking about this for over a year since we first started, and like, how do we really take this in and read each piece, but then also quantify it too? We need to categorize it and put it into buckets of like, okay, this many people have asked for dark mode, we should do dark mode. Right? Or, it's really just a vocal minority that are talking on dev update because they just keep saying, question, dark mode, or what's the real feeling behind it? So now we really have a system to help us quantify that. And that's what I'm really excited about, because feedback is really important to us. If it's really important to us, it should influence our process. Mm-hmm. We should have a process that actually manages it. And some of the really cool things that will start to happen are, hey, 2.5 years ago, this person asked for this thing. Well, it's been a long time, but we've listened to you. We heard what you said, and now we are building it. And we get to tell you, hey, we built the thing you asked for, which is really cool. Not only that, not only do we use it to help prioritize a roadmap, we're going to help use it to help us build the actual feature. So what I do is I will take these pieces of feedback, I'll read them, and I'll be like, you know what, this person is asking for this specifically. I see their actual words and what they're really asking for. I can then take that to a developer and say, see, this person asked for this, not this thing, which is kind of similar, but they really are asked, this is really their problem. We should build it like this. And in fact, what I really should do is, now that I have their contact information, I might send them an email and just like, hey, do you mind like talking me through how you play D&D in this system? Like, I see you using PowerPoint. You're saying you're using PowerPoint to try to solve this problem. Can you walk me through how you're using PowerPoint to do that? And then I could get face to face with that user and ask them questions and really dig in, and that will help build the best features that we possibly can. Because ultimately, what we really want to do is intimately understand the problem, so that way we can solve it to the best of our ability. And I'll give one example. We get the request a lot, and I've seen this over the last year because I have been following feedback. And we've been using it to some degree. We're kind of ramping it up now, but we've been using this process for a long time now. I have seen a lot of people ask for a DM screen. In fact, a lot of times I'll see something like, hey, have you guys thought about a DM screen? I would really love a DM screen, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, DM screen, that goes into DM screen. But what I often see is, hey, have you guys thought about a DM screen? I would really love a DM screen so that I can see all of the passive perceptions, armor class, hit points of all of my characters. What that tells me is that you're asking for a DM screen, but what would really help you is a list of the characters in your campaign with all of their stats, right? And I start to see, okay, I could build a DM screen, but what does a DM screen really mean? Well, these people are telling me what that is. And I have thousands of these pieces of feedback that say, I need a DM screen so that I can see a list of characters all in one place and not have to. I actually talked to somebody that literally pulls out each one of their players' character sheets in a different tab and then flips through each one of them to try to find each piece of information. Right. Man, that's really difficult. We can make that better.
Yeah, no, and what you're saying is so cool. And Roper Sealer in chat says this is actually an outstanding system. I love it, and I completely agree. And how thoughtful you guys continue to be about how you approach these things is just continues to impress the hell out of me.
Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, a new vision of horror from the maniacal minds that brought you Curse of Straw. Explore over 30 domains of dread to terrorize your table, or use the ghastly guide to create your own. Let loose your dark side with all new character subclasses. Unleash fresh nightmares with dozens of malevolent monsters. Pre-order for chilling bonuses and perks. Subscribe to share this twisted content with your table. Face your fears. Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Pre-order now on the D&D Beyond marketplace. Or else.